right, well, let's get going. So we'll try to keep this to 30 minutes today, and let's see if we can get two. Stephanie, I just saw your text. I'm so sorry. Did you forget to put the attachment on the email?
Are you talking to me?
No, Stephanie. Yes, I was telling Ted that the attachment
that may have happened.
The attachment didn't go out, but that's okay. So we can still go ahead and get started. So I'll be sure and check that next time. So I'll be back up on that.
My apologies.
All right, so let's start with 320 Old Hickory Boulevard, number 1004, Eagle Ridge at the Preserve. This was submitted by Miss Virginia Rogan, and she just wanted to get our input on this. So first things first, and this is going to be interactive today, so rapid fire. If I throw a question out, just give me an answer. All right, so first things first, anybody have any issues locating this in MLS when they were looking at that? Was that a challenge at all, Stephanie? Me too.
So I just the tax records and found like the old MLS.
That's what I did too.
Don't ask me any more questions.
You're 100%. So yeah, I typed in 320 and then, Old Hickory, and it gave 513 results. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. So I did the same thing. I went to the tax record, got a little information, about, I went on the sold data, when it was sold, and went and put that range in there. All right. So what were some of the things that were salient to your CMA here? All right, Scott, you're up next for the question. So, what makes this the same, better, or worse than the other things that are available right now or that have sold recently that we need to consider? Now, Virginia made this, and I'll make sure I send this out afterwards to all you, made this amazing list of all the things that she was considering in this pricing evaluation. This is amazing, and I'm going to steal it. Because usually when I'm doing it, I've got a scribble pad and I'm writing this stuff out. This is something that she can send to the seller and say, what am I missing here? Ted does a version of this. It's sort of the top 10 things I love about my house, but this is like nitty gritty stuff. So Virginia gave us all this information about what we should consider, including how old the appliances are and that sort of stuff. But we didn't have that information.
My apologies. That is really my bad. I will post it in the files right now. I'm looking for it here.
Yeah, Ted, I think from here on out, maybe we'll attach it in the email when it goes out, but also just put it in a folder so people can go grab it. And I'll be sure that I do that on Mondays before pricing.
On it.
All right. Things, anybody, when you were looking at this that you considered? Some of the things that I considered is there are only 2 units for sale right now. All right. So how is this one better, worse, the same to those? Anybody want to comment on that? The ones that are available now are a 221 and a 321, and this is a 221.
So are all of these units, I was trying to look, they're all like, there's not like upstairs and downstairs, like the 1004 and the 52 whatever 4. They're all just like one, like they're each little condos. They're not like stacked.
So I don't know the answer to that, Stephanie. I only looked at it.
As I was kind of looking through like the complex, that was one of my concerns, because I know like sometimes levels and like condos makes a difference on the price. But I think that's just like the units. That's what I'm gathering.
That could be.
Because they're all pretty similar. The only thing that I noticed is, I mean, of course, I don't know. I didn't have that worksheet to know like the paint was like freshened up and like all of that. But from what I gather, they're all pretty similar.
Right.
Yeah, the
The corner units are also very desirable for people.
Right, and this is a center unit. It's close to the pool, which to me is a bad thing, but for some people that could be a good thing. What else? What else did you consider?
Like if all the appliances have been updated, because this property was built in 2002,
Right,
now 2020.
right. The good news is there's a whole bunch of 221s that are 1979 square foot. So you can get a good baseline. And then thinking like an appraiser or sort of like that, how can you adjust up or down based on features? So if you have these feature sheets, then this says the bath was renovated in 2015. The furnace was updated in 2020. So there are some things that you could use to adjust the pricing up or down. But let's say, for the sake of argument, it's just like everything else. Anybody want to throw a price out there? I mean, we've got a unit 1307 on the market. It's 1,979 square feet, 221. Anybody have a feeling about it? Is that reasonable?
The square footage it is, for sure. It's big.
Right. Now, it is, but there are larger ones, you know, which could be a thing that somebody wants. The thing that I see here is when I look at the things that are closed, now granted, we're in a situation, I only look closed for 6 months, but it's not like the inventory has significantly gone down in 6 months. It's been in the shitter for a while, right? Oh, sorry, we're recording. Sorry. So, you know, what these things have been selling for in the last 6 months is averaging in the low 150s a square foot, and the 2 listings now are up at 160 a square foot. Do we think that's reasonable? Maybe, depending on if these, you know, 2 units are, you know, wallpapered in gold filigree. It seems a little optimistic to me, but we won't know. Those 2 units have only been on the market for 2 days and 1 day respectively. Well, now 3 days and 2 days. D. Davis.
Yes, ma'am. I am so sorry. I know this subdivision. I've been cuckoo as usual. A little slightly extra cuckoo. I have not really stared at this very long. Kind of unprepared.
That's all good.
But I am Googling. I am comping as we speak right now. Oh my God. Okay. You can't do this too fast and you hit all the wrong buttons.
All right. For next week, fair warning,
Yeah.
we're going to start with a poll, a multiple choice on price range for these. And I'm going to make them up because I get to. And so we're going to have everybody throw out a price ahead of time. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes, that's great.
And even if you don't know and you're just
Yes.
guessing, you're still going to have to put an answer in because I think that'll get some conversation going, right?
Yes.
Otherwise, I'm just talking about how I do comps.
No, I would have totally.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ted.
When you went to pull your comps, did you restrict it to condos or did you select a type?
So I restricted it to everything on the bottom half of your choices. They're condos. So, you know, and I restricted it just to Eagle Ridge at the reserve. I mean, there's no reason to go outside of that, I think.
It is. I just wanted to use that opportunity to share, you know, one of my comping principles, and that is be cautious to restrict something that another agent could have intentionally or unintentionally input improperly, such as they may have put it in as site built versus a condominium,
Yeah.
and they may not have put at the reserve. So just remember to try to think of the least common denominator when you're putting your search criteria in, that some agents may not have put that properly. So like for the way that I ran it, as I put in status, I put, type, I bid all, even though I do only want condos. I put in the zip code as the 37221, and then I just put the subdivision as Eagle. And then I can look at them and see if there's any that are single family that I'd weed out and whatnot, just to make sure you don't miss any that an agent may have put in inadvertently, or improperly.
Yes.
I had an issue with this when I was trying to do a search for properties in Del Webb and Providence and Mount Juliet, because it was all over the board what people put in there. Even somebody put in Del Rio. I'm like, that's okay, that's not it. What I did is I did my initial search based on Del Webb and Mount Juliet, and then I went into the map. And if you'll notice, when you go into the map, if you zoom in enough, it doesn't have to be too much, you can see where the subdivision is, or where the lines are. In this case, I could see where the Del Webb community was. And then I went and drew around Del Webb, with the draw feature. And then I took out my Del Webb from my search criteria and just went off the map. And that expanded the hits I got significantly. So that's one way. If you're seeing it's all over the board, what somebody calls the subdivision, or the whatever, the address, is it Old Hickory? Is it Old Hickory? Is it Boulevard spelled out? So if you're thinking that, hey, look, I think this is kind of, I don't trust what people have been putting in there, you can go in, zoom in, look for the neighborhood lines. You can see all these streets have houses on it, and then there's an open field over here. So you can just go in and draw. Anybody done that before?
Oh, yes.
That worked for me, like I said, in Del Webb, and this could be a good one to do here as well.
Just be real cautious on that when you're seeking things that are townhomes, because like in this Eagle Ridge is that case, that these are townhomes. And so I see a lot of times people some townhomes are not titled as condos, and some are. And a lot of times the agents aren't familiar with that. And it actually makes a really big difference in what kind of loan is initiated. So make sure you know if a townhome is a condo, or if it's like an HPR or something else.
How do you find, who knows the answer to that question? It's not necessarily in the tax records, is it?
It is not necessarily in the tax records. The best thing to do is call the title company.
Okay. And is that easy?
And they will do they will pull the legal description on it, and the rate was recorded, and they will tell you that. And you want to make sure that you put that in your special or your private notes, and make sure for any buyer. Same thing goes if you're representing a buyer. Don't assume that what's in the MLS is correct. Sometimes the lenders, I've seen them get down the road on a loan, they're like, oh my God, this is a condo. It's like,
yeah. Okay. So what are these? These are condos, right?
they're listed in MLS as condos. I'm not sure their legal description, but
I've sold them before. It has been several years, but they were condos. Would that ever change? I mean, I guess it could change.
No, not
but-
typically. No, it will not.
Okay. Okay. Then I feel pretty good that they're condos. But it is good to check, because yeah, I've seen Coronado listed as what was it? Something like a duplex or a 0 lot line or something crazy. Yeah, you are right. You do have to watch those.
I just want to make sure if I'm looking at the right thing.
Maria.
Maria just went muted.
Uh-oh.
I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the same place. The Eagle Reserve,
Yes, Eagle Ridge at the reserve.
Eagle Ridge, okay, yes, I have it, but it says townhomes.
And then it says condos. Well, on the one I was looking at, it says residential townhouse condo. That's one of them. Let's see what some more say. Residential townhouse condo. Townhouse condo.
Yeah, so that's the class type, but that's that doesn't marry up to what lender requirements are. So, we do have to think about how did they list it in MLS, and then also how is it recorded for the lending purposes. So I don't want to get us off track here. Just something I believe that they are listed as condos, meaning that's how they are deeded. So
Ted, would you think it's reasonable or unreasonable if you're looking at this type of property that you at least limit it to not, the single homes, HPR attached, site built, and just select everything in the bottom? Or would your recommendation be don't limit it based on that? Check all the boxes.
I would not limit based on that. I mean, because I can tell you, like at Normandy Place, they are by deed, they're condos. They would be listed just like this as condo townhomes. And then sometimes agents just put them in as site built, not thinking.
Gotcha.
So I would start with all of those. And then if you see some that were single family homes that also were in a community in Eagle Ridge, now I put in the zip code, so that helps weed out the other things that may be Eagle Ridge, let's say in another part of Middle Tennessee. But I would start with all of them, and then I would weed out.
Okay.
Most of the time you'll find it's not a problem, but occasionally there may be some things that were cross-listed or improperly put in different types, and those could be material comps for you.
Gotcha. All right. Okay, well, we're going to move on to D's in a minute. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apologize to everybody on here because I did not do what I said I was going to do, which was send out the notes from last time. And Jan, I saw your email a couple of days ago and I was embarrassed. And so I didn't write
do my homework.
So I will send those out. And we're going to start saving all the documents and I'll label them, by date in the education G Drive, Google Drive. So everything's there. And when I send that out today, I'd like everybody here to write back with your price estimate, a range on
Can we put
320
the
Old Hickory
address?
Boulevard.
Can we put the addresses in the Zoom link that we're addressing that week? Would that be possible? I had to go back hunting.
Yes.
And so, sorry, I've had a crazy week.
Great
So
suggestion.
I dropped the ball.
No,
on
great
this one,
suggestion.
but
I like that suggestion too. And again, thanks to everyone for participating. Now we'll get we'll get this firing on all cylinders and nice and consistent every time. It just may take a couple of times. So thank you for helping us create this. Thank you, Stephanie, for putting yourself out there for your price. Stephanie started the bidding at 305 on this. So so you can keep that in mind. All right, let's move on
Stephanie's breaking my, wait, we're not even gonna get a final guess. Stephanie's breaking my rule of, going over 300. You're gonna miss a lot of people for being 305.
Oh, so what should she be? What should she be?
I don't think it's a bad price. I think I think the comps show that she's probably that this home is probably worth over 300. It's just a matter of, would you price at 300 and hope for multiple offers that bid you up? Or do you go at 305 and potentially miss a lot of prospective buyers that would put their search limit at 300, even though us as agents might look up to 305, 310.
Yeah.
Most buyers may not. I don't want to say would not, may not.
Yeah.
And so that's always a tough dialogue to have with the seller when they think they're what I call a tweener. They're between 300 and 315 or 325.
right. What do you think is the best strategy for that, Ted? Which way would you?
I would never price at 305. I mean, a seller would have to force me, and that's not a critique of your price, Stephanie. I think that's actually the right number. But I just think that too many people, with it all database driven and drop downs,
Right.
people, they're not necessarily manually entering that. So they're like dropping down 300 or 310, 320, 325, things like that.
Right.
So I would really encourage my seller to go 300, negotiate less, and hope for multiples. And and I would also use my gut. My gut is the market is softening significantly over the last 30 days on certain things. So,
Yes, I
you
agree.
You have competition out there, and sure, the closest one is priced at 315. So we're going to look like a sweetheart at 300. And based on Jan's numbers, I mean, we're real competitive, comparable to that one at 315. We may be a little bit nicer than that, but.
All right, Ted, what if, let's say that
Well, now, I just had a new piece of information hit the books here. Sorry.
What's that?
The one at 315 is under contract.
No. So, no, there's one at 315. The unit 1307 is at 315. And
That's
it's
under
active.
contract.
Yeah, there's two listed that are both under contract that I saw when I was looking earlier.
Oh, you're right. I apologize. It
So
says under contract.
Rebecca and I both overlooked that piece. I was thinking those were actives. So
Me
that's a big game changer right there.
Yeah.
And that when I clicked on it, even though I overlooked that, and again, this is all for teaching for myself and everyone, is that then I saw the yellow flag on the MLS that it said seller accepting other offers or still accepting showing. So I'm like, oh, wait. They went under contract in 2 days at 315.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look I also look at under contract not showing. There's a similar unit that went under contract at 320 in 2 days. So Ted, based on that information and nothing more, if you were going to bump up that 305 to hit the next, sweet point, what would it be?
I would probably go, I would dig into these photos a little bit more. I see a lot of carpet in theirs compared to Virginia's, so I'm not sure on that. I would definitely probably go to 315 to 320, maybe 324.
Nice.
Nice. All right. Thank you all for that. We're going to start Dee Davis's because she was the first one to put this out there. Dee, do you have a timeline on this by any chance?
How do you mean?
Like, when does your buyer are they going to wait till the spring? Do they want to list now?
Oh, she would like to sell it yesterday.
Okay. All right.
Here's the tricky part. She wants to move to Kingston Springs from Pegram. Her child goes to school, Kingston Springs, loves her school. So they want to stay in the same school. So Kingston Springs is like, it's really hard to find a house in Kingston Springs that
It is.
And they can go up to she can be 350s ish in Kingston Springs.
Okay.
Isn't it? It's rather surprising that you can't find a cute house in Kingston Springs for $350,000, but they all get snatched up really quick. And so she can't leave until she finds a place to live. So the timeline is as soon as we can find somewhere where she can live. And I'm trying to figure out how to find out about super secret sneaky things in Kingston Springs. And I may just make friends with every real estate agent who's sold something she likes in Kingston Springs, who may know of something else coming on the market. Like, I don't know what else to do at this point. So
send me an email. I just sold one that there's an agent. She lives in Kingston Springs.
Oh, great.
And she knows a lot of the people there. So send me an email and I'll send you her contact.
Thank you so
I
much.
just did one out there in spring.
Oh,
No
good.
problem.
Okay, I really appreciate it. So yeah, and she's like wanting to look at houses in if one comes up in Kingston Springs, and I'm like, we really shouldn't do that because we can't buy one till you sell yours, and nobody's going to accept your offer if you don't even have it on the market. And it's just, wow, it's timing of crazy. But let's just say soon.
Okay.
I'd love to put it on the market in kind of the next month-ish, or
Okay.
as soon as makes sense for her. She's got to clean it up and stuff, but yeah. So,
All right.
and it's kind of nuts.
So so this is obviously a different situation than Eagle Ridge at the reserve.
Yes,
right? In
yes,
Pegram.
it is a little more amorphous, but
So does anyone want to share how you started your search?
Pegram.
there's
Yeah.
and you have to be in the right zip code in Pegram, and you have to be, yes.
I started mine at the map. I typed in the address. It gave
Yeah.
me my little star. And then I just went out a mile. And then I went out a mile and a half. I thought that's not unreasonable. It grabbed one more, because there's really, but what it gave is not a whole, and I did closed in the last year, not 6 months. Does anybody feel yucky about that or feel like that's a good
I
idea?
think it was a good choice. It was a good choice, especially in Pegram, Kingston Springs. You have to just widen your search and make sure that it's a little bit over a year, just in case.
Well, a year. Yeah, it's been a crazy year.
But it gets, so the results that came back, Dee, I actually thought there was a pretty good similar property that closed at 2365 Sam's Creek. It's
Yeah.
kind of like.
Yeah, so I've seen it live and in person.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I put this in y'all's notes, but I thought it was haunted. Like, yeah, I went to see it last, when everybody was quarantined and it was beautiful weather and we didn't have anything to do. I just went to go see it. And there was 2 other people there looking at it.
Emily's got a sage bundle for you.
What?
It's a bundle of sage, I believe.
Oh, yes, that is what we needed. It was just
My house is haunted. I have this thing right in here.
Oh, good. That is awesome. I'm gonna need some of those.
It's
Oh my
either
God.
sage or the biggest spliff I've seen in a long time.
It's
So,
really early.
That was a good one. Yeah, you might want to. I need some of that. We're gonna talk later. Okay. But actually,
all right. So
mine was
haunted
not
neighborhood.
that-
Okay.
well, no, it was just the property. It just looked old, beat up. Wouldn't want to spend the night there. There was something in the backyard that was very undefined that I didn't go too close to and look at because I didn't know what kind of monster lived in it. It is 4 acres, but most of it is on a very serious slope. That was me. Scott Saunders was the monster living in the back. Thank God we know who it is. Okay, good. That's funny. It just was not. There was no. I could find nothing redeeming about it. The house was so close to the road. So it just wasn't very attractive. While my friend's name is Tish, she's the owner. Tish's house is cute. It is way back off the road. She's got 2.5 acres. It's much prettier. It's flat. It's woodsy. It's got a creek. It's really nice. I mean, compared to that, it's much better.
How many acres?
Tish's is 2.55. The haunted one was 4.11. But their acreage all went up the hill. And so
But
the
it was
one
on a slope, so it's not.
Yeah, a lot
Not
of it was
usable
on a
acreage.
slope. A lot of it was on a slope. You could have climbed up the slope and gotten somewhere flat, but you'd have to have the right shoes. I mean, so
it's fair to say that the property, your Tish's property, is we'll say better than that one. And that one sold, and it's that one's sold, yeah, 199 or 150,
Right.
153 a square foot.
Yes.
So your property is not that big, and it has a
No.
gaping hole on the back.
Mine?
Yeah.
No, there's no gaping hole. It's all enclosed. She started adding on. By the way, I do like to disclaim, I told her not to start anything a year
That's
ago.
in your
But-
notes. Yeah.
but I just want to not be involved. Okay, so she started adding on anyway, and it's all enclosed. It's got a roof. It's got beams. It doesn't have drywall. The electricity is almost in, but you can't turn on the lights yet. The plumbing's not done. So we've got estimates for how much all of that would cost to do, and it's something in the $23,000-ish department to have it all
So
finished.
she's not gonna complete it. She's not gonna complete it.
She is not interested in completing it. She wasn't interested in
Okay.
starting it. I'm really not sure how this happened, but you know, this is why you should call your people every 5 minutes and make sure they're not doing anything crazy. I didn't talk to her for a month or two, and she had started, and I was like, oh, yeah. So so Connie says we could probably do a construction loan where somebody could buy it and have the money included to
Right.
finish it.
But that isn't about you selling the property. So that's about next owner's purchase,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Yeah, but we price it according
You price
to
it
what
just
it
like
would.
it is where it sits for what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't price it with what it could be. We
Okay,
price it
Connie
for
said
what it-
for the construction loan, she needed to know what it would be when it was finished. But
She would. That will be the buyer's recommendation. Although it doesn't hurt to have a bid of what it costs to do it. But as far as
Yes.
how they're going to finance that,
that's not
I
our
don't
problem right
typically
now.
go down that rabbit hole too much. Or try not to.
So that's I'm glad you brought that up, Dee, because I when I was doing it, I had read that Connie would need to know. And
Right.
so I did a price of as it is today and one finished.
Perfect.
And so, you know, for what
But
it's worth,
Yeah.
you know, but to Ted's point, you price it for what it is today. You know, there was one listed over here recently. It recently closed finally, and it's a double lot in East Nashville, major renovation of the house. The house was, you know, probably, I mean, reasonably should have been priced, I think, around 850, maybe, you know, 860. And although I wouldn't put it there, Ted, because I'd miss the people, but it was priced for, I believe, 1.4 million. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And it's because it was a double lot that had already been, you know, set up where you could build a second, you know, dwelling on it and this, that, and
Yeah.
this. So they priced it for what it could be, but then that's pricing it for an investor, not for typically for a residential, you know, person, you know, whatever, just
Right.
needing a house.
Yeah.
Because they priced it for what it could be, and it's set on the market for a very long time.
Yeah, I bet. Okay.
So, and the other thing that I noticed, I know we've gone over, and Dee, I'm happy to stay on. I don't have anything until 10:30.
Okay.
And again, when I send out the stuff afterwards, I'll make sure that I have all your information, and we can revisit this. Anybody can, you know, give you feedback at any time, but I'll give you what I came up with just to
Okay.
see some ideas.
Yeah.
That the things that sold in the last year,
Yeah.
with the exception of one property, which says it's a 329.
9.
I'm guessing that's a typo. 9.5 baths. I mean, that's a specialty item. But it went under contract in a day. Everything else was on the market for 3 months or so before. And so things aren't moving as quickly in Pegram as perhaps they are in Kingston Springs.
Right.
Or they are in East Nashville. So that's something for your buyer to consider. If they want it sold yesterday, you may need to price, you know, very competitively depending on what she needs to do.
Right.
So
Yes. So what do you think the as it is right now kind of price might be, considering it's got 864 finished square feet and 648 not so finished square feet?
which is to say 864 square feet.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, and a
So
big
you
porch with walls.
I know you really want to count that. I do.
I'm just, it's there. We should talk about it, I guess.
So let's see. Is that right? So I'm going to start the bidding at somewhere between, and I'd like to tweak this, but if there was, you know, if there was no gaping hole on the back, I'm sorry, it's kind of a gaping hole. Then, yeah, I mean, it's a project. That's a specialty
totally.
item.
Right.
Totally.
I'd say 150.
Okay.
It's
That really hurts.
That was
Yeah.
painful. That's okay. Even with that one that was haunted down the street, I mean, I don't see how anybody could have lived in the haunted one, even though it didn't have an exact gaping hole. It sort of was a gaping hole, but okay.
Well, I'm not just, it's not all about square, you know, price per square foot, but just to give, you know, and that one was twice the size, almost twice the size at 1,300 square feet. It sold at 153 a square foot. At 150, that's 173 per square foot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pushing it though.
I was thinking in the 140s, but
Okay.
you know, like 145, not to be in the middle of the road, but
Right.
I mean, for this kind of property, I would definitely have to go and see it first
Yes.
before I would solidify it.
Right.
I want to see the gaping hole and what needs to be done.
I have pictures.
Because that's very off-putting to people. They're like, I don't want to do a project. Where if she had finished it or was going to finish it, and then you'd have the additional square footage, then it's like, oh, it's move-in ready. So that has a lot to do with what people are going to want to put in, you know, to buy it.
And also at that price, I mean, you have a smaller pool of interested buyers, I would think, because
Right.
it's a specialty item on a couple of fronts. So, you know, any given Sunday, you know, you could have somebody walk up and be like, I've been looking for a project house with a creek in the back in Begram, and
Right.
I have a vision, and I can get a construction loan.
Yep.
But at this price point, you know, I think some of your buyers are going to be people who can't afford to live in Nashville, you know, and they're first time home buyers. They're not going to want to get a construction loan. They're, you know, and so those are some considerations.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Dee. I feel like your
No,
life spark is dimmed.
This is not my fault.
No, it's not. She's got to deal with the consequences of what she did. And
yeah. So, well, okay.
yeah.
Whereas if she finished the addition, which I know she doesn't want to,
Right.
that changes the equation
Whole
significantly. And for that, I put 225, 230.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were her, I would bite the bullet and go ahead and finish it. I mean, I know she doesn't have a desire to do it, but financially, and maybe you sit down with her and say, here's the way it is right now. And this is what you can get. But since you started this project, here's what you could get on the back end. You know, if you bite the bullet and do it, this is what people are looking for, and we could get more for the project. And,
Yes, because it's difficult to find someone that likes exactly what she was thinking about doing or remodeling. So that's the bad side.
yeah. And I mean, it all depends on her motivation, of course, and how quickly she wants to get out of the house and what she'll put up with. But if it comes down to the money, then the investment side of it is to complete the project and reap the reward.
I say complete the project and list it in the spring.
Yeah.
If I waved my magic wand and I could have the seller, take my recommendation.
That's a good idea.
Ted?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I totally agree.
Does she have the money to complete the project?
Maybe.
Can she get a HELOC? Finish
She
the
already
project?
did.
Oh,
She already did. Yeah. And
I mean, would Connie do the construction loan for her? Would she roll it over and convert it as an investment property and have her, just like a new construction project? I don't know. I'm not a lender, but
I don't know either.
but with rates the way they were, and if she could do that and get it completed, then she would sell this thing. I mean, the frontage is cute, has definite curb appeal.
super cute, and it's not in a flood zone. Which one of the ones the one that sold at 2430 Sam's Creek, it sold for 108,000, and it's 1,700 square feet. It's in a flood zone. It was a high risk flood zone. It was as is, all sorts of, so that for the ones that closed in the last year, that's an outlier, and I'd throw that one out. But
it is a beautiful area, though. I live not too far away from it, close to River Road, and it's not a bad drive. So maybe once it's remodeled, you can get good bids.
well, and I think there's if she wants to sell it now, there's a lot of marketing gold that you can do with it, but it's going to highlight the special nature of it, that it's truly a special snowflake.
How do you
And so the marketing is going to be geared towards, aggressive marketing, trying to, get exposure out there so you can grab that one person or those two buyers that were interested in something like this. But I think this would require more than your usual or normal listing marketing.
Right.
Just YouTube it and go all the way to California.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Lee, because I feel like I squashed your life bar today.
It's not your fault.
I will go to Pegram with one of those signs and stand on the corner and, like the mattress stores
Oh God.
to help with your marketing, flip it.
Will you video me doing that? That would be great. I'll do that.
Scott
And
can
then
do
you
it.
video it. But
Scott can do it.
I really,
yeah.
I really don't think the person who's going to buy it is going to be in Pegram.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've been meeting a lot of people recently who've just moved to town and they are living in like Springfield. Like, why do you live in Springfield? Because I wanted to move to Nashville, but you're in Springfield. Yeah. What? And then another lady who moved to Nashville from Minnesota, she lives in Clarksville. I'm like, but you live in Clarksville.
I know, it's so
You don't live in
nonsense.
Nashville. So there's sort of a lot of that. I think it's going to be somebody probably else. I don't know who it is though. But yeah, so if we go out there with the funny sign and put it on everything across America, yeah, that might work.
Dee, I've been working with somebody who lives in Sacramento, and it just occurred to me that this is, other than the gaping hole on the back of the house, this is not a bad fit for her. So maybe I'll run it by her It just occurred to me because she's not necessarily in a hurry, and she's kind of, but she wants to retire here. She wants a little room. She wants to be within an hour of Nashville.
You found your buyer.
That'd be great. What is she? So, okay. Well, I can send you more pictures.
But other than the gate, she wasn't really interested in a major project. But perhaps she would reconsider for the right property. So
Yes, because the amount of, it's 2 acres, you said, and she can just remodel the rest, the new buyer, and just add the California taste to it, and voila, you find your buyer.
That would be the best thing that ever happened. So let me see where the pictures are. And
well, you sent pictures of the some. So okay. All right. Well, we went over again. Sorry, but only 20 minutes over this time instead of 30 minutes over like last time. So we're getting there.
I think it's almost unrealistic to think this can happen in 30 minutes. Unless we only ever have one.
I think we should have one probably. Okay. So,
but I love it. It's great.
But we're going to focus on. You will get an email from me today, each of you, and then we'll post all the information out in the Village Education Drive. And when I send the email, I'll email each of you. Do, if you would please, just write back with your price range that you'd recommend for Virginia's upcoming listing at Eagle Ridge at the Reserve. What does that mean at the Reserve?
I have no idea.
And then also we can revisit D's next week. We don't have another one that's been submitted. I think this is an interesting one, unless my friend from Sacramento decides to buy it, and then we'll have to come up with something else. So,
do you need any more info from me on that for her?
If you have any other pictures other than what you sent to Ted when you initially submitted it,
okay. See. I'll go there.
Yeah, and I will do that since. But and I'll still do the sign thing, for you. So.
You video me.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
I mean, I'll do it. I should do it. I'm the listing agent. So, all right.
Hey guys.
Thank you.
Okay. One question.
Yes, Maria.
This probably is related to pricing. I have a listing coming up. It's a new build, and I'm debating this is in East Nashville, South 10th Street, and I'm thinking about between 820 to 850. But okay, we'll talk about it next week.
Okay. Hey, Maria, if you want to send information about it to Teddy, then what's your timeline on it? When do you think you'll be listing it?
Well, it's the 1st of December. Mm-hmm. And it's not finished yet. Has views of Nashville, mainly the stadium. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and terrace on the very top of the house. So I'm just working on it. I just can't figure it out. I'm doing CMAs every other week just to make sure. But I'm in between those 2 numbers, and I don't know. But anyway, we'll work on it.
Yeah. So just if you would, Maria, just send Teddy just an email with the information, and I'll send that out. I'll send that out with the other stuff this afternoon, just for a project. If anybody wants to, test their chops and give you some input on what they think.
Perfect.
So we do this we're doing it every other week now. Now, 2 weeks from now is Thanksgiving. So it'll be 3 weeks before we get together again on this.
Okay.
But thank you all so much.
Thank you.
I enjoy doing the homework. But and I hope it's been interesting for you guys. Again, next time we do this, the first thing that we're going to do, we'll try to do one property at a time. I think that's reasonable because there's obviously enough to talk about. And we'll start with a poll about pricing. We'll start, everybody can throw that out, and then we'll have our discussion and then circle back around at that point to what people think the price is. That
Right.
seem
Yeah.
good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see everybody. Don't forget about the appliance basic training this afternoon that Ted has put together for us. Go to the store now and buy your Tang because you know you're going to need it after this.
It's legit.
And here's some grace to Ted that you feel better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
So
hope you get to
sorry.
feel better too.
Well, I do feel better. It was 3 hours last night with it. I almost went to the ER. Like it literally was that bad. So for 3
Yeah.
hours.
Ugh.
Laid in a hot tub, and thankfully I feel a little better this morning. So surgery is scheduled for Monday, and I just got to make it till then. So
What is
Oh,
the
that's
matter with
great.
you? I missed what's the matter with you. What happened?
I just have kidney stones. I've had them before, but unfortunately they're back.
Oh
Sorry,
God.
Teddy.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh.
Thank you.
But I'm so glad they were able to work you in Monday. It was going to be 2 weeks, right?
Yes. Yep.
So
Ouch.
yay. Yay.
Take care. Thank you.
See you
All right, y'all.
See
Thank you
December
so
3rd.
very,
See you at
very
1
much.
o'clock today.
Bye, Jan.
See you
All right.
later.